Yeah, that's what I liked. That's why I started talking about White's Hachiman, because I thought that he used that ultimate in a number of different ways, and he really utilized the attack speed banner as well. You know, it comes down and he gets the buff no matter what, but his teammates only get it if they're standing inside of it. And time again in those team fights, strong positioning of that banner, because it does damage. That's his wave clear ability. But making sure that, you know, finding that happy medium between, do I want to damage this guy? Or do I want to put it in a spot where my teammates can take advantage of it as well? That's a big decision, and I think I really enjoyed the way that Mr. White wound up doing that one. Across the way, we talked about how CAZ had a strong game for a while, and then it all sort of went awry. We mentioned a couple of moments where it did go awry, but what did you like initially out of CAZ?
I really loved their early game, how they played it. They picked the double warrior and they invaded the speed in the blue because they knew they had pressure, and they kept going back and they kept going back. They played that side perfectly, and then Harley used his Atonement, used his clear with Izanami, and he also pushed his lead on Mr. White.
I think that the Izanami pick, again, was a very smart selection. The Izanami, it felt like that ultimate was really setting up a lot of attacks for CAZ. Unfortunately, it just started getting a little bit more targeted out. CAZ started breaking apart more often, and once they stopped playing all together, their draft, the holes and the flaws within the draft really started to shine, because a lot of those gods are actually super punishable if you get them isolated, and CAZ was kind of doing all the work for SoaR by spreading out so thin.
All right, Bobby, I'm kicking you off the desk. You're going to go put on the headset for CAZ. You are now coach inbound. What are you telling your team to do? Because this is a must-win game.
Firstly, I'd start off with that same early game draft that they had. The Osiris on Hotaru, he actually played it very well other than a couple questionable ults, but I would want to get him some aggressive warrior again. And Mr. Turtle looked incredibly comfortable on that Hercules also. And he stole away 3-4 blues and speeds. And then Harley, if they're going to give him that Izanami again, pick it for him again. He did top damage in the game by 3 or 4K. Why would you not get it for him? I, too, also very much enjoy the Hercules solo and not the Hercules jungle.
Does anybody hear anything? I don't.
But in all seriousness, I think that it was a smart choice throwing Mr. Turtle onto that Hercules. Kuzenbo and Hercules seem to be two of his best gods for that solo lane role, and I wouldn't be surprised maybe to even see a Kuzenbo surface here. I like the Kuzenbo. Everybody's, you know, he's a funny character. The only thing funny here is I like when Mr. Turtle plays the turtle. He did it earlier this weekend. I enjoyed that. Bobby, you're just shaking your head. Welcome to the desk with me. This is how we do things here. CAZ going to take the Raijin away from SoaR's mid lane Shaliber. I think they want to test Shaliber a little bit. You mentioned it. On LAN, he's a little shaky sometimes. Yeah, he is a little shaky sometimes. And also, it is taken away from Shaliber. It's also giving it to Elexum, who's played it 3 out of the 5 games so far, so he's incredibly comfortable on it. And he does like that early clear from the Raijin. What I'm keeping in mind, though, is that this leaves Thoth wide open for Shaliber, and that's another god that people have been talking about for being one of Shaliber's best, if not his best god. So I feel as though we might be seeing that selection coming through, and that can make things pretty difficult for Elexum on this Raijin. Serket and Hou-Yi are the bans for CAZ. Was that the right move? I like those bans again. Even though Oscar did play really well on the Hachiman, the zoning ult that Hou-Yi has just spreads out fights, and then Mollusk looks good on the Naja, but he looked great on the Serket, so keep him on the Naja. And again, talking about what we mentioned in game number 1, if you're just joining us, basically the quick and dirty, Mollusk is an aggressive player that doesn't have brakes on his car. Naja is a character that you can't slow down on. Even when you're 0-5 on Naja, gotta go in. So I love this pairing. This is probably, you know, it's funny. I think Mollusk has other characters that maybe he's better at overall, but I think this is my favorite pairing for Mollusk. Naja just fits Mollusk both in and off. Like, it's just incredible what he can do whenever he gets this Naja in his hands, and I am actually really excited to see how he's going to play this one back, but CAZ were able to experience that Naja one time already, and one thing that does make life very difficult for a Naja is hard CC. I would like to see maybe a Geb selection here. Well, it's going to be the Kuzenbo, like you said. So Mr. Turtle going to bring out the turtle one more time. And Kazer's also going to grab Ganesh. The one problem with the Kuzenbo is I don't think he's going to be able to get to invade anymore. So that's going to now not allow him to get that blue and that speed. That's fair. And that's probably going to be another Xing Chen solo. So that
lane will probably go even.
Two things that I do like here as the Thoth is selected, and CAZ, that's one of those moments where I think you just you play your hand and you're just sitting there waiting for the river, and you're just saying, we really hope they don't pick Thoth because we'll ban it in round 2. They didn't pick it 1 and 2, and you're just sitting there with that third choice going, please, SoaR. And unfortunately, looks like it's a flop for CAZ.
But I feel like this is the reason why CAZ opted for a Ganesh over maybe a Geb pick, because even though Geb could provide some hard CC for that Najat, save his teammates, and cause a lot of a deterrence factor, Ganesh is a silence. And whether or not the Ganesh is going to be focusing out Mollusk, it's not that important. But looking to silence out Shaliber would probably be the play, because then he can't drop that ultimate anytime that Mollusk grabs somebody up into the air.
That's a really, really big point. Raijin brings the push in the middle lane, but AMC going to be banned out by SoaR. They don't want the push in both the mid and the side lane. Sobek will be the Guardian of Choice, banned out by CAZ. And Ratatasker banned out by SoaR one more time.
And Ratatasker, again, kind of just expected, because it can be that bruiser-esque god that CAZ might be wanting to lean towards, since they already ran an Osiris in the jungle, and they've been sticking true to this Medusa pick, and I'm a little surprised by that, to see them stripping away a Medusa as opposed to the Hachiman.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know if White hasn't played at this tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know where CAZ got that ban from. Maybe they actually looked back and saw it in a previous online set that he played it, but I probably would have banned the Hachiman there.
It's kind of similar to when Enix banned the Bastet,
Yeah.
I think, where it wasn't, it actually did come out in the following game, and actually it's going to be a mix-up here from Mr. White going for that Cernunnos instead.
Listen, so far, Mr. White has been, you know, there's also a little bit here. Mr. White's new on the block, right? And when, you know, you are not, you haven't been here, Bobby, as long as some of the other guys. When you're new on the block and you're at your LAN, you kind of want to show, you don't want to show all of your secrets, but you want to show that you're not a one-trick. There is something to prove.
Yeah, there is something to prove. Without bringing out the Hachiman again, maybe he doesn't want to show that he's as comfortable as we initially thought, and maybe they're so confident they're going to win this game that they want to play the Cern.
The Cernunnos, I think, is a confidence pick, but it could also just be another setup factor for this Najat, because the Wild Hunt, whenever that gets dropped down, some people are bound to burn their purification beads, and it's all going to come down to target focus for SoaR. This is more of a pick composition. Anytime you go for the Najat, you're looking for picks. You're not necessarily looking for that team spread AoE damage. That seems to be more the mindset here for CAZ, especially with that Susano selection.
Well, so far, Mr. White has proven that he can do it, so I trust him on this Cernunnos to bring home the bacon. I think he's going to be able to do it.
It's just, it's there. Is it that time of night already?
Real Bomb King hours. Aggro actually came up to the desk, wrote it down, and handed it to me. So that's all Aggro. That was 100% Ryan Aggro Bailey at hi-rez Aggro on Twitter. You can tell him if you like that joke. Susano and Izanami one more time. You asked for it, and you got it. Fantastic performance by Atonement on the Izzy. Really, really like this choice so much.
And again, the Erlang Shen is going to come through. We've seen a decent bit of Erlang kind of towards the end of the box slam, but he still managed to surface. I like this pick because, again, it kind of just sticks to what SoaR are trying to really run, and that's the pick composition. You get knocked up from the Erlang, that's perfect setup for your Thoth ultimate, and same thing for the Najat. Plenty of opportunities for SoaR to burn out those actives.
What's that, Aggro? Okay, I got it. Yeah, so right here, I think Mr. White on the Cernunnos totally expected to pig out as far as that's concerned. SoaR looking good. Game 2, you have CAZ.
I got to have CAZ again. They're my boys. They got to get this one.
How you feeling, Taco?
I'm just here for the ride.
All right, well, I got to thank him for my jokes, and we're going to thank him for the game. It's Aggro, and it's Totally.
Look, I literally cannot communicate with Tom. I did not write down on a piece of paper. That was not a me. And totally, why?
We're in the 12th round here, Aggro. This is serious business. CAZ
Stop
eSports
yelling at me.
need to get a win here.
Okay,
I'm in the
sorry.
corner here. I'm rooting for CAZ eSports. They're here to play.
Okay, totally means business. I don't know what you had to do to Transonics to get his boxing gloves away from
You
him,
don't want
but
to know what I did to
I
Transonics.
truly do not. CAZ eSports need to win this one. If Myth are going to be going to World, SoaR got to double down and win this second game in a row if they want to be the ones going to HRX. And the Xing Erlang Shen, do you think that JacobTask JacobTask is taking that Xing Chen again, and this is going to be Erlang support?
I think so. You know, playing it in game number 1 here, Xing Chen did work a lot for JacobTask. He really rumbled in there in the backline, you know, just knocked people up any single time, and it was just such a beautiful performance out of that solo laner. I don't expect anything different here when everything's on the line in round 12.
Well, SoaR Gaming, they need this one, but it's going to be Medieval on the Xing Chen. It's going to be JacobTask piloting that Erlang Shen in the solo lane. Mr. Turtle on the Kuzenbo, fittingly so. I love this Cernunnos pick because what makes Kuzenbo so hard for ADCs to deal with is that spiked shell. Is the fact that you can't hit him because he's dealing damage to you, alongside what's probably going to be a Thorns. If you transform him, if you polymorph him into that pig, he can't use either of those abilities, and you could kind of eat him up in those 2 seconds.
That's very true, but he still might build into the height of Nemean Lion, and that could be another third option to make it even more difficult for a lot of these hunters in the late game. However, playing the Cernunnos is more of this mid-game hunter that has a lot of penetration or lifesteal, depending on which season he wants to kind of stay in, and I'm expecting him to maybe go for some solo Gold Fury attempts once he finished stacking that double gloves.
Horrific emblem was used there by JacobTask. Don't know really who he was attempting to hit with that, but Mr. Turtle is able to secure his own blue buff with the help of the Hand of the Gods that he picked up there, and the Fire Elementals go the way of SoaR as to be expected. They've got much more pressure in this lane than CAZ eSports have, and that's why we see the Hand of the Gods pick up by Mr. Turtle. But despite the extra pressure for SoaR, they will not be able to invade any of these buffs on the right-hand side, which is basically all you're looking for, is to survive not losing any of your buffs early on.
Oracles actually get taken out by SoaR Gaming. They're going to have that vision for another additional minute, and yet again, an interesting style now that Elexum adopted from Shaliber. Going to try to fight fire with this Warlock Sash Rush.
Medieval trying to zone Bradley away, but Bradley's got that bigger assist range, so he's not going to be able to get zoned too easily. Medieval actually this time going for the Rangda's mask, Tolly. How do you feel about that?
Well, considering you're going to be just farming away alone in the duel lane, it's not really worth it, but hold that thought. Stormkata doing a lot of damage.
Mollusk is going to fall for first blood. Hotaru is going to be able to get it. We'll have a good poke and a good wind siphon pulling him in. Mollusk just not respecting the damage that Susano does, and honestly, Susano, a pick that you don't see too much these days, might have just caught him off guard.
I mean, with the Bluestone Pendant, you're applying just so much damage over time, and even applying more damage over time as we see Mr. White make this rotation, forcing out the sprint from Bradley, trying to juke out the second jump, which wasn't even attempted.
Medieval just lets him go.
He's getting collapsed on. No, actually, Shaliber's going to back on off, really respecting this rotation from Atonement.
JacobTask in trouble because here comes Hotaru, and he pulled him right out of the 72 transformations. Hotaru's going to get another kill in this solo lane. What a pull by the Susano in the jungle. JacobTask takes an early spill as well.
And you can just hear Myth in the back cheering on CAZ as they find 2 early kills, almost getting 1,000 gold lead.
I'm not sure they're cheering for CAZ as much as they are jeering at SoaR. I mean, they are yelling at these guys to try and get in their heads. I mean, usually it's just the opposition you got to worry about, but SoaR's fighting against the crowd too.
A lot of mind games here in the arena here, and the extended enemy here. SoaR Gaming needs to get back on the right track, really trying to build for this mid to late game with, the, like you said, the Rangda's Mask from MedievalDoc, the Warlock Sash from Shaliber, really trying to get their farming online early and then team fight later.
Talking about getting something online early, that warrior tap I already done for Hotaru in the jungle 3 minutes in. I mean, usually you're trying to get back and get boots too before your first buffs respawn, let alone finishing them off, but I guess getting first blood and the second kill after that is going to boost that gold up pretty quickly. Mollusk and JacobTask do hit level 5, so they can defend their buffs if Hotaru wants to go for them, but it's going to be a much stronger fight for CAZ eSports than SoaR Gaming at this stage.
Really good rotations from Hotaru to start off this game. Normally, a lot of soloing action is avoided for the most part, but not this time. He's really been exploiting the inability to tank quite yet, considering that JacobTask and Mollusk both would like to build defensively. Fighting early, not a bad idea, executed to perfection by Hotaru.
Mr. Turtle backs, allowing SoaR to secure their own buffs on the right-hand side, while Shaliber still hasn't backed in the mid lane. Elexum has, and he's already finished off that Warlock Sash, so he's going to have the advantage. When it comes to stacking up this item, there's good poke onto Bradley by Medieval and Shaliber combined. Oracle's spawn, and so that's where SoaR's mid laner is going to go. Mr. White was able to secure these last time, and Medieval can't really body block those Izanami auto attacks, but doesn't need to because Atonement backs up.
Not wanting to kind of force anything on the left side, considering Hotaru was on his own speed buff, making the rotation in mid is Elexum. He needs to build those stacks, trying to separate himself against Shaliber, who's now completed the Warlocks of his own.
And that's going to give him the slight disadvantage, having finished off his stacking item secondary to Elexum. Fire Elementals go the way of CAZ eSports, which is a victory that they probably weren't expecting up against Erlang, Shen, Naja on the right side of the map. You're kind of expecting you to just lose those neutral objectives, but with the start that Hotaru has gotten, not too surprised. I'd like to see Hotaru try and transition this into the mid, though. JacobTask, while susceptible to ganks, yes, on the solo side. I mean, Shaliber's got no movement speed quite yet in that kit. You can really punish that Thoth early on.
Without the boots, it's a prime target, but Hotaru's still looking at the solo lane. Now, as a Guardian solo laner, sometimes you're relying on your jungler to rotate to alleviate some pressure against these warriors in the solo lane, and I think that's exactly what Hotaru wanted to do. The fact that he even got a kill, let alone two, is just a cherry on the top, and now he's just sitting in this lane a little bit longer, waiting for these buffs to respawn.
Exactly. Just like this is what you expect Hotaru to do normally, but he got off to such a good start, and Mr. Turtle got off to such a good start that I'm not sure he needs the help anymore, Tolly. It might just be better to leave Mr. Turtle alone, allow him to get that solo farm so JacobTask can't catch up quite as easily, and then just go mid and try and kill Shaliber or kill MedievalDoc while neither of them have a lot of defense. Shaliber only 16 stacks on that Warlock, so he's got a little bit of time until he's really tanky, and Medieval hasn't finished off that Jade Emperor's crown yet, so he's pretty squishy as well.
As long as they have the vision, though, to spot the rotations from Mollusk, I don't think that CAZ needs to really worry about any sort of aggression from SoaR. Wherever Mollusk goes, that's where the action's going to happen. If they avoid him, then that's when Hotaru can make a play happen, and even if that's meaning to camp the solo lane a little bit further, not the worst idea in the world. Letting your Guardian get online faster. Getting to that level 12 marker for the second relic could be a good idea.
Uh-oh, Atonement in some trouble. Has to use the Dark Portal, just trying to clear the wave. Medieval very patient with the ultimate, now going to use it. Atonement does commit the Purification Beads. It doesn't even matter. Mr. White is going to be able to clean that one up for SoaR, just overextended there by Atonement.
Now giving a stack of that Rangda's Mask to MedievalDoc. He actually did it in the Odin game. I forgot who it was against, but he built it, and he got those stacks very quickly, making his, late game Odin even more effective.
JacobTask fighting into the Spike Shell for Mr. Turtle, knowing that it's not leveled up very highly quite yet. Of course, leveling that Nene Kappa in the early stages, so not going to return too much damage onto him, but does need to be wary of just how much damage he'll return to himself once Mr. Turtle gets some more levels online. SoaR put themselves on the board, and it's an important one. They give it to Mr. White, who has really, for all intents and purposes during this LAN, been the star for SoaR Gaming.
The way he piloted the Hu Yi was just really remarkable, and getting to respect Hu Yi ban, now forced into this Cernunnos, showing us all that he could play this god as well. CAZ not really respecting the potential rotation there. Atonement was caught a little slipping there.
It has the Purification Beads down now as well, so honestly, if I'm SoaR, I know where I'm going. I'm going right back to that dual lane, try and put some pressure onto him. Hotaru was kind of lost his lead for himself. I mean, he's only up an extra 10 XP a minute. That's nothing at this stage of the game. Mollusk has done a good job catching up. Good damage onto JacobTask with better damage onto Hotaru himself. Nice ring toss to get to force out the Typhoon. That's not going to find a lot. Only 180 damage onto MedievalDoc. So not only does SoaR defend their buffs, but they're able to put some good poke onto Hotaru and get his ultimate out.
That's the one issue as a jungler, that you can really catch yourself falling behind whenever you're trying to force too many engagements. Not sharing waves in middle is not the best idea. You need to still stay relevant in the farming department. Good interrupt there, double interrupt there, not allowing the disengage from Elexum, even the panic ult.
Just trying to give himself some CC immunity in case Medieval was going for it. I understand the idea there from Elexum, but you've got a lot of time to react to that Whirlwind of Rage and Steel sound cue that probably could have just waited until he heard it start to go off and then use the taiko drums to give himself the immunity.
Maybe he was also worried about the max distance Naja ultimate from Mollusk, but that also has a relatively long sound audio cue that you can play around. Still a little bit of a panic, so Elexum without that ultimate for another 80 seconds or so. Atonement, though, his beats are coming back up in 15, and I think SoaR Gaming missed another opportunity.
I agree with you, but Mr. White is going to have the lead on the stacks. He's back to base first to finish off those Devourer's gauntlets. Not sure Atonement has enough gold quite yet, because this would be a good time for him to back if he had enough. Still needs to work a little bit harder to get that Devo Gauntlet stacked up. Now, Elexum, remember, he finished his Warlock Sash before Shaliber did. That reflects in the stacks, about 16 ahead of where Shaliber is, but might be the opposite effect here in the duo lane in SoaR's favor this time.
And every time SoaR clears the wave first, they know exactly what CAZ wants to do. Obviously, Elexum needs those stacks, and CAZ holding the wave outside the Tier 1 tower between both Hotaru and Bradley. They don't want to clear the wave, not allowing their mid-mage to get those stacks.
Hotaru now a little bit behind in XP overall, though. Still slightly ahead of net worth. He's going to teleport forward and put some damage onto Shaliber, but no real commit. Susano is one of his greatest strengths is that poke damage on enemy mid laners because he can do it so safely with his numerous dashes, but against Warlock Sash, that does become a little bit less effective as MedievalDoc is going to push forward. BradleyRJ might be in a bad spot because his dash gets blocked off by Mr. White. MedievalDoc is going to get credit, but for once it's the other way around, Tolly. The ADC does the work and doesn't get credit for the kill.
That's right. You know, sometimes you gotta switch things up as Mollusk takes one in the sky. Elexum trying to get Shaliber out of position, not allowing him to follow up with that final judgment.
Ooh, JacobTask. Hotaru's gonna be able to get out with 1 HP. Mr. Turtle will not picked up and tossed by MedievalDoc. Shaliber is gonna put him down, and now it's SoaR Gaming who take the lead in kills and the ever so slight lead in the gold department as well.
Looking so strong here. The rotations was just perfect and beautiful. Wrapping around behind. Look what Elexum is trying to do. He thinks that they're on Golfer, and that's indeed what's happening. He's going to throw out the 1 and the 2 combo. Sash not on the mark, but everyone's attention on the mid-mage.
MedievalDoc trying to continue it. There's the root, which forces out the purification beads from Elexum, but overall a worthwhile trade to sacrifice your purification beads to make sure that SoaR don't get the Gold Fury. Good wraparound there by Elexum.
It could definitely start snowballing if you let that one go. It's not that much gold, considering it's only the 11-minute mark. You get, you know, an extra amount of gold per minute on that objective. Now we're having a little bit of a boxing match. JacobTask not getting the better end of this one against Hotaru.
Hotaru needs to wait for his cooldowns. That Storm Kata not quite up, but Jetstream is off the mark for Hotaru, so he's going to have to back up. Good idea there to go aggressive onto the enemy speed buff, knowing that Mollusk was just on the left side of the map, but just a little bit too late as JacobTask had showed up to try and defend it.
Bradley actually almost stole that through the wall, throwing out that line ability. Now with his position around the solo lane, Mollusk and Medieval here trying to maybe make something happen. They're not using that ring bounces quite yet. They're feeling a little frisky, I think.
Just waiting around, and now Hotaru shows up, and he's very low. Mollusk really wants Mr. Turtle to back up just a little bit so that he can find that ring toss off both members, but smart plays by Mr. Turtle. Make sure that doesn't happen. He's level 12 now, has access to his second relic. Hasn't back to base quite yet, but almost certainly will go for a Thorns in that spot.
And now SoaR clearing out this midway first, having an insane amount of vision on the right side of the map. They can easily position themselves around this Gold Fury. That's exactly what they're going to do. It's already at half health, and nobody's even here.
Shaliber has that ultimate, might not even need it. He will use it, but SoaR still going to get it close, though, because of the ultimate from BradleyRJ. SoaR end up getting the objective and escaping without losing any members. There's that ward vision coming into play. CAZ actually has quite a few on their side of the map, but still just not enough. Hotaru's going to dash in
Goes
there.
in yet again. You know, it worked out for him the first time, doing a little bit of poke onto that Warlock Sash Thoth from Shaliber, but this time around, a little bit too overzealous in the yellow and now has to back to base, and that's some time not spent farming.
Well, he's going to stick around despite being low HP because he knows he wants to hit level 12 before backing to base. In fact, he's going to start up this portal demon. All of CAZ eSports are here. It's only Shaliber local to the area. This is going to go down. Dark Portal and Typhoon used just to double check that they got the objective. Good objective play that time from CAZ. They lose the Gold Fury. They get the Portal Demon. Problem is, this looks pretty familiar, Tolly.
That's right. What happens on the right, there's an opposite and equal reaction on the left. SoaR Gaming able to respond in kind with a Tier 1 dual lane tower, and the great play from CAZ eSports, recognizing that the ultimate, the final judgment, not available to steal away the Portal Demon.
JacobTask has to use that ultimate just to buy himself some time. Good heal coming off of him. Right around the corner comes BradleyRJ. The knock-up chain from Mr. Turtle is there as well. Silences and pushes him underneath the tower, but there's a 72 transformation. Hotaru really wants that ult right about now, but he doesn't even need it. He's going to get the kill. That's his third in this game, and it's on to that solo laner. JacobTask has not looked as good as he did on the Xing Chen in game 1.
That took a lot of time to kill this one little level 13 Erlang Shen out of the solo lane, but not done yet. Hotaru going to get plugged back into that tier 1 tower, taking a tower shot for his troubles. It's actually a 4-on-1 against MedievalDoc. He's all alone, and now SoaR Gaming are going to lose their own tier 1 tower.
Yeah, SoaR very slow to respond to this push from CAZ. I mean, as you mentioned, it took CAZ a while to bring down JacobTask in that solo lane, and no rotations except for Medieval, who doesn't even get a lot. He gets forced out as well as the tier 1 tower falls down. Hotaru going to be able to pick up his own speed buff, so he might have to go back to base with how poked out he is. CAZ eSports right there with SoaR Gaming only down about 500 gold. CAZ trying to ruin SoaR's hopes and dreams of making HRX and to fulfill some wishes of the gamers on Myth. And now SoaR Gaming just need to get this victory, and they'll be the ones coming to Atlanta in January.
Elevate played spoilers to Enix. Same thing can happen here if CAZ win this one game. SoaR feeling very confident heading into it. You know, played confident in game 1, relatively confident in game 2. The way Mollusk has been positioning himself around the map. Now Shaliber sending a level 14 has maxed out his illusionary wall there. He's going to be positioned now around this tier 1 mid tower alongside his hunter to just melt it.
No, this is going to go down very quickly. That Glyph of Pain just adds so much damage to these auto attacks, and the fact that it goes onto the Thoth and the ADC there, one of the more underrated parts of Thoth's kit is how well he sieges because of Glyph of Pain.
And now not going to build into that Divine Ruin the same way he did in game number 1, but a different penetration item, going for that 33% penetration from that Obsidian Shard.
I don't think getting Obsidian Shard is ever wrong on a mid-mage. I can't think of a situation where it would be. I mean, this item is just cheap, efficient, power, and pen. Certainly the right pickup for Shaliber, who's going to take a little bit of poke from that Raiju as Medieval is going to get pulled in by Hotaru. Hotaru has a Jetstream teleport available if he chooses, but will not. There's a sash onto Mr. Turtle, but Mollusk is patient with the ultimate. Mr. White going to take a good chunk of damage. In fact, he gets to take his forces. Medieval's going to blink in and gets one. It's BradleyRJ underneath that tower, but Mollusk goes right underneath them with that ultimate. Medieval's going to get one, but Mr. White answers back. Mollusk will have that ultimate available still for BradleyRJ. He's going to fall a 2-for-1. SoaR lose their support, but they gain a support and then some on the side of CAZ.
That ultimate from Shaliber, even though it didn't find a kill, it just ripped down the team fight, hit a few members from CAZ, forced to disengage, and left BradleyRJ high and dry, finding these two tanky targets against CAZ. SoaR Gaming walk away with a better end of that one, but no objectives because they already got that tier 1 mid tower, and they got Gold Fury, which is respawning in 35 seconds.
Really good fight there from SoaR. It all starts off with MedievalDoc playing aggressive, and he ends up paying for it, but that's kind of the support life, Tolly. I mean, they're down for that. You don't sign up to play support unless you want to get, you want to be the one in the 2-for-1 scenario.
I mean, you got to get in the thick of things. It's somebody's job to do so, to get down and dirty, and that's exactly what the Turtle and Bradley did together. The Turtle-Elephant combination is a pretty powerful thing, but not that powerful in that one.
Clearly, a headless monster is better than a turtle and an elephant. I don't what is Xing Chen's just like a headless dude, right?
I mean, yeah, kind of, right? I mean, he does have like his head inside his stomach, kind of.
Yeah, he's a scary guy. Xing Chen is not a dude that I'd want to meet. Like,
doesn't the Furious Roar just like come from his stomach?
Yeah, well, that's also his mouth. It's both.
That's just wrong. On a couple of levels.
When Xing Chen eats, where does it go?
Oh man.
I'm going to be up all night.
I think we're going to need to change the mature audience level here on the stream.
Well, we don't want that.
Deep.
So we're turning it around. Turn it around. That's not wrong way. Mr. White now on this Cardinals level 17, 2-0-3 again for him. Another really good-looking score line for one of these LAN. I'm not sure that he's a LAN rookie, but certainly new to the LAN environment one way or another. And he's looked so good so far. Shaliber is the real LAN veteran on this team alongside Medieval, but Shaliber more so, and he's really become a leader for this squad. 1-0-4 for him. He's done some good damage so far this game, top of his team on the charts. Mr. White is the only one here. He's going to drop the Wild Hunt, just try and get CAZ off this Gold Fury, but it's not enough. There's a Dark Portal, and CAZ is going to get the gold. Meanwhile, SoaR tries to get one, and Shaliber will secure it. That's a kill on a Hotaru, but CAZ eSports are probably okay with that.
It's a 5-on-4 for SoaR Gaming now for 33 seconds. They got the Gold Fury was CAZ, but Portal Demon being looked at now. Mr. Turtle in the front. He gets knocked down, back on his shell. He's going to take JacobTask into no man's land, but now here comes the pluck.
MedievalDoc gonna toss him in. Mollusk gonna take someone up, but it's not Mr. Turtle. It's another RvL Atonement's gonna grab one on a MedievalDoc. Shaliber needs to be accurate, and he'll get one killing spree for Shaliber, but now it's only the backline members. It's a 3 for 3 for CAZ and SoaR.
But that was a 4-on-5 fight for CAZ. They were fighting without Hotaru, but Shaliber's ultimate was used to kill Hotaru. If that final judgment was up, maybe SoaR Gaming win that team fight a little more convincingly, but hindsight is 20/20. They needed to find that kill to try to go for that Portal Demon. They were successful in doing so. They still have a little bit of a goal lead, and experience lead not in their favor is CAZ, but it's still anybody's game at the 20-minute mark.
It really is. I mean, the late game composition you would expect to favor SoaR. I mean, they've got the Thoth in the late game. Raijin's still good, though, in those later stages, but very vulnerable to that final judgment.
Especially, the range from the Thoth. You're able to defend sieges and siege rather effectively, going through walls from such great distances. Elexum needs to get a little bit closer. Still has a decent amount of range compared to most mages, but Hotaru, though, needs to get a little bit closer than Mollusk in terms of the ring bounces. Mollusk is going to be building tanky, whereas Hotaru is not.
Well, Elexum has to use the purification beads because of Mollusk's sash. Mollusk seems to have seen the light when it comes to damage. My man's going for the damage option as Hotaru takes a big chunk of damage from that evade and punish stun. A little surprised that SoaR doesn't try and play a little bit more aggressive, but Mr. White is not with them currently. He's on the left side of the map. The rest of SoaR group is 4, and they're going to push onto this right side tier 1 tower. Blue buff was the call for Mr. Turtle, and Mollusk looking for it. Hotaru a little bit off the mark. Knock up on Mr. Turtle, but he's got that sumo slam to get away. Blue buff goes SoaR's way, but speed buff goes to CAZ as they return to defend their tier 2 and mid.
Mr. White was making the rotation. Took a little bit of time for him to get in position, and I think, okay, no, he was just clearing out a sentry ward there. They're not going to try to force out the Fire Giant quite yet. They're going to use this range from Shaliber, using that wall, using his abilities to just poke out CAZ.
MedievalDoc has got his Rangdas all stacked up. He's all done, so he's got that extra power, or excuse me, the extra penetration, the extra movement speed, the extra CDR, as well as Mr. Turtle evades some abilities and gets underneath the safety of his tower.
Bradley gonna laugh it off a little bit. MedievalDoc in a great position to flank this. He should. Elexum very low, already poked out, almost half health here. SoaR Gaming are gonna force the issue.
Here comes Medieval. He's gonna throw Bradley right into the teeth of his team. Nice Dark Portal does good damage to Mollusk, but it's not enough. Typhoon comes through from Hotaru, and that's just not going to find a home. Neither will the Wild Hunt from Mr. White. SoaR get the tier 1. They get 1 kill. They force Atonement back, and they're looking for more.
They are not done. Mollusk is not done. He's going to take one into the sky. Elexum taking a lot of damage. Final judgment too soon. Not on the mark, but still finding the kill on the mid-mage.
Hotaru trying to get away. The sash onto Atonement. Not sure that's a target that Mollusk wanted, and he's going to make him pay. Tier 2 does fall, so SoaR get 2 kills and 2 towers on that right-hand side. But they really seem to want some more there, Tolling.
That's right. Mr. White is looking very frisky with this red buff, sitting at level 19, has plenty of lifesteal, but you can't get knocked up. Where are your mechanics, my dude?
Can't do that. Now he's got to back up. Atonement showing up along with Hotaru, just enough pressure to force SoaR off that Fire Giant. And that would have been a risky call to go for it, Tolly, but it certainly would have been on the table had Mr. White been able to avoid that Fire Giant knockup.
It's just so, I don't know, that's a mechanic that cannot be missed like that. You have to be on the ball with this, or if you're at the SCL, SPL level, doesn't matter which one, it's pretty standard.
Yeah, it's not too hard. I'll give you that. That's
2 hits, line, 2 hits, line, 2 hits, fire puddles.
Well, Mr. White, you know, this is a LAN stage, the biggest game of his life. He has to win this one to go to Worlds. Might have gotten to him for a moment, but hasn't when it matters, though he isn't too high up on the player damage charts. In fact, he's 2nd from the bottom.
I mean, it's the same exact story compared to the first game when he was piloting that Hachiman, but he had a lot of kills to his name. Still having a decent amount of kills, considering that his team has 10. He has 3.
4. He's been a part of 70% of them, 7 out of the 10. So not too bad. Shaliber sitting at 3-0-6. He's top of the player damage charts. He's been a part of 9 of SoaR's 10 kills, been a big part of their success. And so Hotaru's going to get sashed out and crit by Mollusk, I believe. That was a pretty big damage number. from that sash, and that forces him back. And didn't have the purification beads, but Mollusk didn't have enough damage to finish off that kill all by himself. As MedievalDoc going to take a little bit of poke in the mid lane, but he's just running distraction here. Totally. Gold Fury is going to go down. SoaR uses Final Judgment.
I don't know.
And they push that lead up.
Though I don't know if that Final Judgment was necessary because MedievalDoc, they got 2 in a perfect pull. If the Final Judgment was there, they could have found 2 easy kills.
Well, Bradley's still alive. He's got the shell and trying to get away. JacobTask is going to be able to pin him down. Mollusk trying to stay alive. Taunts in by SoaR's JacobTask. But he's going to stay alive for the moment. Mr. Turtle will not. He falls alongside BradleyRJ. But here comes Hotaru, a little bit off the mark with that Wind Siphon. But Typhoon forces out the beads from Shaliber, so SoaR lose their support once more, but they get 2 kills. We've actually seen this exact trade happen, where it's MedievalDoc for 2 more.
Mollusk, he's not done yet. Going to chase out Mollusk for the moment. The stun, though, from Shaliber is going to eliminate Hotaru's life. It's a 3-for-1 at the end of the day, and now SoaR going to go for more and grab this Portal Demon.
They might be able to back and just go straight for fire after this, totally. I mean, Atonement's poked out. He doesn't have an ultimate. Elexum pokes to half HP. He doesn't have an ultimate. I think if I'm SoaR, I'm down to go through this portal and try to do the Fire Giant.
You definitely try it, but no Final Judgment to secure.
Where is Elexum going?
Elexum is just no, he's not even dropping a ward there. He's still behind the Fire Giant. I don't think SoaR know about this though.
They don't. He's gonna be able to go back to base, but that just opens up a wider window for them to try and do Fire Giant. So that's exactly where Mr. White goes. BradleyRJ is here now. He's got his ultimate available. Atonement's been able to lifesteal up a little bit, but Fire Giant down to about half HP. Mr. White tanking correctly this time is able to avoid that knock-up. Fire Giant getting lower. Here comes BradleyRJ over the wall. CAZ is going to take it away from SoaR Gaming. Mr. Turtle might pay for it, but CAZ get the objective.
Dropped in the sky, lands on the ground. MedievalDoc taking his life. Shaliber a little bit too quick on the draw there. He threw out the Final Judgment, and CAZ steal it away. They lose 1, which means SoaR Gaming still have a 5-on-4 advantage for this 36 seconds. They can still group up, grab a tier 2 tower in mid, maybe even grab a tier 2 in left, unless they're feeling very frisky and want to grab a Phoenix.
That truly was the hand of the gods that stole that away for CAZ eSports. I mean, Mr. Turtle just walks in, brings down the fist, and strips away the Fire Giant from SoaR Gaming. Now, SoaR do get the tier 2 tower in mid. That's an extra 1,500 gold across the team. And CAZ, even with the Fire Giant, doesn't feel like they can take this 4v5. They've got to wait until their hero, Mr. Turtle, returns from the respawn. But once that happens, this is an opportunity for CAZ to get some much-needed gold. There's plenty of gold waiting in these towers all across the map.
That's right, 5,000 gold collectively between these 4 towers from SoaR Gaming, which would absolutely cut this deficit. Now, they're already down 7,500 gold. They need to find a way back into it. They have Fire Giant buff. For another 2.5 minutes, they could easily start grouping up. As long as they are mindful about the Final Judgments from Shaliber, they can win it.
And Shaliber has that Rod of Tahuti now. He's got red buff as well. Not getting much stronger than this, working on a Chronos Pendant, but needs to be careful because around the back, he's all alone. Here comes Mr. Turtle, jumped on top of by Elexum. Beads already down. Shaliber is going to fall, and now SoaR has to defend 4v5.
Caught in no man's land. Shaliber left alone. This tier 2 tower still being looked at by CAZ eSports. They only committed the ultimate from Mr. Turtle here, so this is looking like a very safe siege, considering they still have Fire Giant on 4 members for 2 minutes.
Medieval wants to blink into the backline and use that ultimate with the T2 tower. It's already gone nearly. JacobTask takes a lot of damage. He's going to fall to Hotaru's Typhoon, but a big pickup in toss only gets 1. A couple beads, though, as Mollusk is going to take 1 to the sky. It's Mr. Turtle. He's still alive and stays up with the shell. Dark Portal going to miss for Atonement, but it's SoaR on the run.
Bradley's not done. He's going to chase out with the silence for a little bit. The rest of CAZ is going to back off. The blink, though, is coming from Medieval. He wants Mr. Turtle so badly. Elexum going to save the life of Mr. Turtle for the moment.
Medieval might, yeah, they should just let him go. I mean, he is tanky. He's not going to be able to get Mr. Turtle, even with committing the blink. SoaR lose 2 members and both towers on the left-hand side. Now only up by a couple thousand gold, and it's only getting smaller, Tolly, because This
They need to give this
T2
up.
tower might be gone as well.
They have to give this up. They don't have JacobTask alive. It's a 4-on-5. SoaR Gaming cannot contest. They could chase this down, however, if MedievalDoc finds a nice knockup.
Well, Mollusk trying to close the gap.
Elexum.
Just off the mark there. Elexum is kind of isolated now and has to use the Aegis. Hotaru with the pull, but a great ult from Mollusk takes Elexum to the sky. Final judgment waiting for him on the bottom. Shaliber on point with that one. 6-1 and 8 now for SoaR's mid laner.
That's the way you execute against a Naja and a Thoth, just being able to wombo combo those two ultimates together. And now SoaR Gaming, despite losing 4 towers so far, they're trying to get a middle Phoenix.
Wow, still Fire Giant on 3 members here, including Atonement, who has his ultimate available. No relics, though. Watch that Hunter for CAZ eSports. Phoenix Siege is the idea here for SoaR, but their wave pretty far away, waiting for that to come up. Mollusk nor Shaliber with ults because they use those to pick off Elexum earlier on in the mid lane. Mr. White, first one in, trying to get the damage onto that Phoenix. Does have the Titan's Bane finished.
They have 12 seconds until Elexum comes up. It's now do or die for SoaR. They're going in the back line.
There's the damage onto Atonement, and Shaliber is going to find him all by himself. Two-man pickup and toss by MedievalDoc on the Xing Chen. Mr. Turtle again, or no, it's BradleyRJ, I should say, up in the sky. Mr. White is going to grab that one. Hotaru CC'd underneath his own Phoenix, but Elexum has returned.
Elexum is ripping down, but it's not enough to kill MedievalDoc. Mr. White with a double kill. The middle Phoenix finally falling. SoaR Gaming get a great objective, and now with a 5-on-2, they're heading towards the Fire Giant that's respawning in 25 seconds.
Wow, what a fight for SoaR. They get a 3-for-0 underneath the enemy Phoenix without the Fire Giant, and now they've got a great chance to claw their way back into it. They're going to get this Portal Demon. Should be able to just come on through and get the Fire Giant in the next 10 seconds as well. I mean, only BradleyRJ will have respawned by then.
Shaliber's just playing lights out outside of the missed position in the tier 1
and the missed
tower.
Fire Giant secure. You got to remember that as well.
That's true. That was slightly mistimed.
But
CAZ responded well to that.
Completely agree with you, though. Shaliber has been a big part of the turnaround since then, and that's a part of Shaliber's game that just did not exist last year. I mean, to make 2 fatal mistakes in a game to send you to Worlds would have probably crippled him last year, but it says a lot about how far he's come mentally to be able to bounce back and have 2 really good engagements after that. Fire Giant getting low, and Mollusk gonna take Mr. Turtle to the sky, but he's not doing a lot of damage to him. Final judgment will, though. Mr. White is gonna get credit. Now Medieval's gonna blink forward. He's got BradleyRJ in the washing machine. Pancake flips him as well. It's Mr. White in the jungle with the Cernunnos with the double kill. Hotaru is gonna be able to answer back, but it's Shaliber again with the damage. Atonement might be able to get away up and over that wall with the fadeaway. Elexum's going for it.
He's going in. He's banging on the drums, trying to go on Shaliber. Shaliber's gonna dash. He's trying to find the stun. He's not on the mark onto Hotaru. A 2-for-1 at the end of the day. SoaR Gaming still in the driver's seat. They got the mid Phoenix, which means some fire minions are flooding in the middle lane. Fire Giant being looked at by SoaR. Elexum on the right. Underneath comes Hotaru.
Shaliber trying to zone out the rest of the squad. Mr. White may need some help on this Fire Giant, though. It's getting low. Elexum trying to steal it away, but SoaR are going to grab the Fire Giant. Elexum's in some trouble. Hotaru likely to fall as well. Only going to take 1 more shot, but might be able to get out of there.
He's
no,
trying.
Shaliber finally going to put him down. Somehow Elexum escapes, but SoaR are able to secure their first Fire Giant of the game, but it was still a nail-biter.
Can you hear the bells ringing for Myth Gaming right now?
It's close, man. They're down. I mean, CAZ, they need CAZ to win in order to send them to Worlds. SoaR, they need this win to send themselves to Worlds. And you can feel CAZ really feeding off the energy that Myth is giving them in this building.
And I mean, just so much action here. 33 minutes in the game, and we actually have collectively 33 kills between these 2 teams. A kill per minute. There's just non-stop action here in this final game of the SCL Fall Finals.
Well, it's full build time for both squads, basically. I mean, SoaR was in the lead for almost all of this game until CAZ really ripped it away with a Fire Giant steal. They got a bunch of towers off of it, then a good turnaround by CAZ, or excuse me, by SoaR to bring themselves back into it. Full build now nearly for Shaliber, who actually went for a finished Spear of Desolation instead of finishing off the Chronos Pendant. Mollusk looking to continue to find the damage on this Naja.
And now trying to go for a left side Phoenix. Still needs to coordinate this correctly, though, because there are some responses that CAZ can easily do between Bradley and Mr. Turtle. They have a lot of space control with their ultimates. The knockups and the Dharmic Pillars can easily ping-pong SoaR every which way.
There's the pin onto Mr. Turtle. Damn it. Two-man knockup as well. Final Judgment gonna miss this time, though. And now the fight might go CAZ's way. Big toss, though. Puts Elexum in a bad spot. He's got to go up into the Tycho drops, and he's going to put one down. But Caliber answers right back. Left side Phoenix still underneath that trouble.
SoaR Gaming is going to pin Atonement in place. JacobTask credited with that one. 2 dead on the side of CAZ. Only MedievalDoc falls for SoaR Gaming. Mollusk, though,
he's in some trouble, but a big ring toss there gets him out of danger. JacobTask there to support as well. So Mr. White just needs a second alone with this Phoenix in order to bring it down, and that he will get. Left side and mid, Phoenix is now down, and SoaR still looking for this last one, Tolly, but they don't have a wave.
They don't have a wave, but they have 30 seconds before Elexum and Atonement revive. Getting stunned is Mr. Turtle, taking a lot of damage. Final Judgment not available quite yet. Third Phoenix falling for CAZ. SoaR Gaming look to close this one out very soon. Probably going to wait for MedievalDoc to respawn before doing so.
SoaR just one objective away from going to Worlds, and it's the Titan. Everything else on the map is down. CAZ eSports, we're getting to the point, though, where one wipe could do it for CAZ. It's going to be long respawn timers now on either side.
It's very true. The execution from CAZ needs to be on point. Hotaru can't do the same thing that he did earlier on this game when he was just kind of baiting himself out, trying to create chaos and havoc, and still trying to make something happen here because of just how much burst damage and control SoaR Gaming have. JacobTask ultimate taunt into the turtle knockup, sets up the huge AoE damage from Caliber, and so far, so good for SoaR.
Medieval has been absolutely critical in getting these fights going their way as well. I mean, just picking up the Guardians and tossing them into the teeth of SoaR has really paid dividends for them as well. SoaR Gaming now playing patiently, trying to push up these waves, get as much farm as they can before they try and end it. Caliber going to be able to pick up the enemy red buff. That's an important one. We're one-shot territory, boys, for that mid laner for SoaR, and 3K pot waiting in the wings for Mr. White.
7-0-13 is this new land rookie playing the Cernunnos, considered the one god wonder, showing us all that no, not indeed. Playing the Cernunnos this game, playing the Hachiman in the last, making a true statement for SoaR Gaming. They got 3 Phoenixes. They just need to find the right angle to go in here.
And you know how these players are, too. He shows the Hachiman and does well. He's like, all right, well, he's got 2 gods. And now he plays the Cernunnos and plays one of the, all right, he's got 3 gods. That's how it is in this sort of environment. But SoaR playing it patiently. CAZ has done a good job of pushing up these waves, so SoaR's going to back up, do this Portal Demon, probably just wait for the Fire Giant to respawn, and with 15 seconds left on the respawn, not a bad idea.
I don't blame them here. Everything's on the line for SoaR Gaming. They win here, they go to HRX, they lose, they're waiting for Season 5. It's a long off season. They definitely don't want to be collecting their thoughts and thinking, what if we made it to HRX? So let's just secure the Fire Giant, allow these firemen to start trickling down the lanes and go in for that final blow, knockout.
SoaR Gaming get the Fire Giant. That's their second of the game. This time, it was secured. No, nothing made me nervous about that one. No one in the neighborhood for CAZ. And CAZ have got to try and find a way to put some pressure onto Caliber because he has just done so much in this game for SoaR. I mean, he's got an extra 12K over the next highest player damage. And that's on the other team. I mean, he's got an extra 16K on his next teammate.
Caliber just feels so comfortable here playing this stuff. It just doesn't seem that he's been disrupted the way a lot of junglers will try to do on a mid-mage. And despite going this Warlock Sash, you know, transitioned very well here, only having that one death that we were talking about when he was trying to defend solo under that tier 1 dual lane tower.
Yeah, left side Phoenix the first to respawn, and that's why SoaR is hanging around. Minion wave coming in from the right-hand side. That could be the signal that SoaR have the opportunity to go for the Titan. That has the minions there, but instead SoaR playing it as patiently as humanly possible.
MedievalDoc is waiting for that blink. He's waiting for somebody to get out of position. That's why everyone from CAZ is positioned furthest away from that Xing.
Xing has been really impactful so far in this one. Mid Phoenix up, mid Phoenix down. SoaR get another one, and now they're just waiting on the final right side Phoenix. These minion waves quickly approaching the base of CAZ eSports, who need to get a defensive stop here. No power potions on their side quite yet, except for Hotaru, who's been able to buy one. Elexum decided to buy one, and he finished off that Soul Reaver as well, so that's important. Watch that big first burst of damage coming out of the Raijin. Shalibur looking for some poke onto the opposition.
MedievalDoc is going to bait out some cooldowns from Elexum while the rest of his team is in mid. JacobTask on the right side. It's a 1-3-1 split from SoaR Gaming. They have Fire Giant for 2 more minutes, and now MedievalDoc is going to force the escape from Elexum. The rest of SoaR, they're going in.
Elexum up into the ultimate. Big damage, and Mollusk gets the lead right away. Elexum's going to get Shalibur as well. The Titan down to 2/3 HP, but SoaR is on the run. Medieval trying to get away, but he gets yanked back in as well. Hotaru's gonna get another one, and CAZ eSports continues to breathe.
They hold on for the moment. That Titan barely taking any damage, but look at this. All 3 Phoenixes from CAZ are still down for another 3 minutes or so, and that's gonna buy enough time for these 3 dead SoaR members to revive, go for round 2. They have to push so many fire minions that CAZ can't even respond with a Phoenix of their own.
They really can't, and Shalibur dying with both relics there just has to really sting. Elexum brought the damage in that fight.
Oh yeah, just wow, left unchecked. That Soul Reaver doing work for him, just flooding in through the gates with that taiko drum. Just no possible way for SoaR Gaming. Their eyes just grew so wide, wanting to take out that Titan.
So what do you need to do there as SoaR? Is it as simple as ignore the players, get the Titan, or do you need to find some kills first?
There needs to be some sort of balance there. Obviously, the play was for MedievalDoc to blink in, force something onto literally anybody, but Bradley was in his face. He silenced him, preventing any sort of follow-up, so that play didn't work out. SoaR Gaming needs to recalculate how they go in. That 1-3-1 split was good for getting Phoenixes, wasn't good for getting the Titan. If you commit all into the Titan and then you die, if you lose all 5, well, that's your game. That's your HRX experience.
Well, Elexum came up big in the last defense. He's hoping to come up big again in the next. That's the problem for CAZ, is they need at least one more defense like that in order to keep their hopes and the hopes of Myth Gaming alive. SoaR just need one successful push to bring down this Titan. And honestly, Tolly, if Mollusk can even take one up into the sky and distract CAZ eSports, that might be enough for Shalibur and Mr. White alone to just finish off that Titan.
I'm looking at Mollusk, I'm looking at Shalibur. They don't need to cohesively use their ultimates together to hit the same target, but they need to hit their ultimates on someone. Shalibur needs to get someone out of a team fight.
I don't think Mollusk even got a chance to use his ultimate. I think Elexum 100-0'd him.
Just absolutely blown up. Doesn't have the health really to deal with the damage. He has the Wing Blade for a little bit of health purposes, has the Jotun's Wrath for the cooldown purposes, but it just protections all across the board. You know, going for that Mantle of Discord, for that CC immunity, the little mini stun. It's good if you're in the backline, but if you can't get to the backline, it's basically worthless.
Mollusk seems to kind of split the difference here with the builds. I mean, he wanted to build tanky. He builds Thorns. He builds the tank boots eventually, but I don't know. Just not enough defense or offense in my mind. I mean, it's got to be one or the other. Right now, he's just kind of on the median and therefore not very effective. Plus, keeping a Glad Shield 42 minutes in is just never the play. That's got to be sold at some point.
Absolutely. The Glad Shield definitely has to be sold here. Maybe
Titan's
even a
Bane?
Titan's Bane, absolutely. Just being able to take anybody, get that penetration online. Even being able to deal more damage to the Titan with that penetration would be useful.
Well, CAZ, mid Phoenix, and left Phoenix are now up. SoaR got another Fire Giant in the downtime, and we're going to try and run these fire waves back in to CAZ's base. All relics on both sides back up and available. Barely any were used in that engagement. Last one, to be honest with you, everyone just kind of died before they could use any relics. Hotaru trying to get aggressive with that jet stream, but doesn't get a lot for it. Right side Phoenix falls quickly.
CAZ cannot afford to defend outside their Titan room. They don't need to leave that Titan room. They know that they're still able to hold on to this game the same way they defended earlier on, but they need more than 3 kills. They need 4, even 5 potentially to respond with a Phoenix of their own, or at least hold on to 2 Phoenixes. Only going to survive onto 1 for the moment, because if you keep 2 Phoenixes here, then you could just shove the other one of all the fire minions and then respond in kind.
Well, the left side Phoenix is the only one left standing, and CAZ hasn't looked particularly confident in defending the first two, though this is the one that had the chance to regen the most. It's not getting any higher than that half HP threshold. If CAZ are going to die on a hill and it's a Phoenix, then this is the one to do it on, and that looks to be the call. Right side fire waves are coming, though, Toli.
CAZ doesn't have a blink of any sort on any of their gods, so difficult to get into the back line here. Left side Phoenix at half health. SoaR Gaming with Fire Giant for 2.5 minutes, and they're thinking about going in here, but this Phoenix is going to get melted. They're zoning CAZ away. Fire minutes are going to start slowly pouring in mid and right, and now the left lane. SoaR Gaming, they failed the first time. Attempt number 2 incoming.
Well, left side is not going to have fire waves for a little bit. That left side Phoenix got to stand for a while, and SoaR just going to back to base.
They're backing off. They're really wanting to get more potions here. Maybe some purple pots, some red pots, get some Sentry Wards. 3K potion from Shaliber just purchased and consumed.
Right away. So Shaliber.
Do or die.
Do or die for SoaR Gaming. You can feel the pressure in the building, specifically for the SoaR Gaming guys. There's really no pressure on the CAZ here, totally. They haven't won a game. No one really expected them to win a game. So this is the fact that they're here 45 minutes in against SoaR, you could tell is starting to weigh on SoaR. Also weighing on SoaR is the screaming from Myth Gaming.
They need CAZ to win here. You know, this is do or die for Myth Gaming. They couldn't find the victories earlier today, and they're hoping for a miracle for the European squad to breathe some life in this game. Mr. Turtle just swagging out.
He's feeling okay in his own Titan room, flexing, getting himself all pumped up for another do-or-die defense. Underneath this Titan, Mollusk going to join the left side wave, and JacobTask going to do the same on the right.
This 1-3-1 split wasn't the ideal situation here. I think they really want to get all the waves together, combined at the same time, but they have to watch out for Elexum. Bradley is going to stick to his mid-mage like glue, just to make sure that MedievalDoc doesn't CC him.
Titan is as squishy as it will ever be. No defense is left on that final objective. SoaR has one thing standing in their way for going to HRX, and it's that Order Titan for CAZ eSports. Shaliber going to get good poke onto Atonement. It's going to force him back to base, but no minions in the base means that SoaR still can't push forward. Good poke on a MedievalDoc as well. Maybe not as good as I thought. He's a pretty tanky Xing Chen at this point in the game.
They're forced out some abilities there, but they're not going to go in quite yet. They're still waiting. They don't have Fire Giant now. There's going to be down in 12 seconds. MedievalDoc, he goes in, and Hotaru actually just streams in. It's going to be a commit from SoaR.
Atonement's beads are down, and Mollusk
it's a bait.
Backs right up. They got the beads from Atonement, and now they might look for it. Medieval in that Titan room, still going to dance out of there. All they're doing is resetting this Titan, potentially healing it up. In fact, it will get healed.
They don't care, though. The healing is just insignificant. It wasn't low enough. Anyway, Elexum, though, left side. He gets stunned out. The beads needs to be used. That's a huge defensive relic.
Now Atonement and Elexum, neither one have the purification beads. And MedievalDoc, he's still got that ultimate. No blink for him, though, for 67 seconds. The Phoenixes are about to respawn again and again. SoaR's going to put him down.
SoaR Gaming are just dissecting CAZ slowly, inch by inch. No breathing room for CAZ. They cannot leave their Titan room.
There's the sash and the ult on a Mr. Turtle. I'm not sure if that's the guy you want to use. Final Judgment comes through, and not enough from Shaliber. Titan down to about 3/4 HP. Mr. Turtle gets tossed right back in the middle of it, but a big dark portal from Atonement is enough to continue the defense.
CAZ is holding, but Shaliber finds Atonement in the back line, doing a great job picking off one. Finally, SoaR Gaming, Mollusk, he gets the ring, bounces off. He's very low. He's forced to retreat. The Aegis is being used by Hotaru. All of SoaR are now retreating. They get one pick. They got two Phoenixes. And Mr. Turtle is laughing. SoaR, where are you going? Come back!
Well, they can't come back now, Toli. That Titan still standing strong. 2 for 2 for CAZ eSports on the defense. Mr. Turtle, he gets sashed and ulted at the beginning of that fight, Toli, and that's just a lack of patience. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying it because SoaR's been staring at this Titan for 10 damn minutes, but that's still a lack of patience from Mollusk. That's not the target you got to hit.
I think maybe the plan was to take Mr. Turtle up in the sky so that he would not use his ultimate to disrupt some of the backline damage from Shaliber, from Mr. White. Obviously, you'd never want to ulti a tank, considering you are a tank Najat. You're never going to find the kill there, even with Shalibur's damage on top of it. If the Final Judgment connects, sure, it's fine and dandy, but he'll still probably be at like 50% health.
Medieval still has ultimate. Now he's got the blink available.
This could be
Elexum
it.
doesn't have beads. There's a sash onto Hotaru. He's going to go up into the sky. Shalibur charging that Final Judgment, but he gets disrupted by Mr. Turtle, and Elexum gets 2! The Titan still stands, and CAZ has defended once more.
3 times, CAZ still holding strong. JacobTask falls. 3 dead from SoaR Gaming. CAZ eSports are going to start grouping up now. Their left Phoenix is still strong. They don't have to worry.
They've got 55 seconds on 3 important members of SoaR. They might be able to push up and try and end.
Mr. Turtle is just laughing and taunting.
Look at
going
him.
down the mid lane here. There's 2 waves of firemen between middle and right. I think CAZ, they might commit all in right here, right now.
49 minutes, SoaR's HRX hopes on the line. Atonement along with Elexum trying to get this Phoenix. Medieval gonna blink in and get silenced out, but he got the beads from Atonement anyways. Elexum there alongside Atonement. They get the mid Phoenix, and CAZ now trying to push forward. They're going for the Titan. Bradley the first one in. Mr. Turtle in some trouble. Big damage on a Mollusk coming out of Elexum, but he finds the ultimate onto Mr. Turtle. The Titan down to 5,000 HP. The Titan getting lower. Atonement going CAZ eSports going for the Titan, and they're gonna get it. Myth Gaming going to HRX on the back of CAZ eSports.
They're going absolutely nuts in the back line. The cameraman needs to watch out for these players. What a performance. CAZ eSports gets their first victory when it matters most, for not for themselves, but for Myth Gaming.
SoaR Gaming had it, and it slipped right through their fingers. A heartbreaker for SoaR, and CAZ coming in winless to this set, coming in without their full roster. They had 2 subs, Anatoly, and somehow, some way, they send Myth Gaming to Worlds.
What a performance. What a back and forth, action-packed game. Wow, I can finally breathe.
Unbelievable. What a game. SoaR Gaming, so close, right on the precipice. They get 3 Phoenixes down, what, 6 times it felt like, and somehow not able to close the deal. CAZ, I mean, their defense was phenomenal, and to stay in it mentally, I mean, to go be 0-1,000,000 coming into this LAN, and just to have the energy, in my mind, if this arena's empty, CAZ gets blown out in 25 minutes, and they're going home. You know, they're collecting their paycheck, and they're saying, we did our best. The energy in this building motivates CAZ to take that win.
Adrenaline through the roof. I think the main talking point here was Shalibur not being able to use his ultimate late game because of the ultimate from Mr. Turtle.
Wow, what a game. We've got the desk ready to break it down, including HRX contestant inbound.
You're going to Worlds, dude.
What the hell just happened?
You're going to Worlds.
I'm going to Worlds.
Bobby was jumping up on a chair. The entirety of Myth was just screaming. Everybody. That was just nuts.
That was one of the most exciting. I've been doing real talk. I've been doing Smite. I've casted every single live event that Smite has ever done since the launch tournament, and this was one of the most exciting moments I have ever gotten to be a part of. Sitting out there in the pit, I mean, I'm out of breath because I was screaming along with all of y'all.
I'm dead right now. I can't even. Lost my voice a little bit too.
He's still trying to figure out his existence and what actually just happened there. And I don't know about you. I mean, unfortunately, all the food places around here that you guys would want to buy CAZ
I'm
dinner
going to Subway. I'm going to McDonald's, Subway. I'm hitting up every place.
Well, fantastic stuff. Ryan, I think, really said it best when he said that CAZ probably gets blown out in a much shorter set. There is something to be said about the intangibility of crowd excitement, about adrenaline, and there is literally something in the air, honestly. The crowd was yelling back and forth to CAZ, and CAZ was yelling back at the crowd. Atonement, we lovingly call him Harley is his name, and he's having a conversation with you while he's dead.
He was having a conversation. Turtle was taunting, doing his classic Turtle taunt or whatever. Wow.
Yeah, and I said something backstage, and then you said the exact same phrase that I had said earlier, and we didn't even hear each other.
Yeah.
There comes a point, and it's very difficult to do, to play too safe. And I think SoaR lost this game because they played it too safe.
What, 5 Fire Giants, 4 Portal Demons, a 42-minute Gold Fury? They were knocking down everything when they should have just gone for the Titan.
That was just hesitation cannot be afforded in a competitive setting, and that is really what spelled the ultimate end for SoaR Gaming and their run to Worlds. CAZ just capitalized off of it, and I think that it was also something to be said about the momentum in the arena. These guys were fired up because of Myth. I have to hand it. I think that you guys helped carry them through that set.
I'm glad we could help them. They helped us a lot too, so.
I mean, that's the beauty of it to me, is I need to remind folks that CAZ, unfortunately, despite their efforts, are not going to Worlds.
They can come with us, I mean.
You are the team that's going to Worlds, but I hope we had cameras on the crowd, because CAZ got bum rushed by Myth, and honestly, just everybody in the building.
Yeah.
It was just one of those moments where you're watching and everybody involved starts to root for it. And CAZ, they came off, they were as excited as anything. Atonement is screaming, "Yeah, Cooper, we did it!" our admin, right? And just, they're not even going. It's just that win.
It's just one of those moments where, I'll be honest, Bobby, and please don't hate me for this. I really, I just want to see good Smite. I wasn't really biased towards either side, whoever wins it, whether it was SoaR, whether it was CAZ, but my heart started racing watching and listening to you guys just screaming in the arena, just everything going absolutely insane.
We asked a couple players like who they were rooting for at the beginning, and they were like, "We really don't care." And then towards the end, everyone was shouting, "Let's go, CAZ!"
Yeah,
let's go, CAZ! And that was just wild.
I mean, for me, I'm a broadcaster. I view the game zoomed out. I am unbiased, and I watch every team. And like Taco said, I just look for good Smite. Like, that's all we really want to see. And I find myself rooting for CAZ because that's the good Smite. It's a 5-on-3. The carries on CAZ are dead. And SoaR decided to go back into the jungle, look for Fire Giant number 13. And then, again, they had a moment where they kill Atonement. They have the 5-on-4, and the Hunter's dead, and they still don't go in. At that point, you got to root for the other squad.
60-second timer on his death, and they went and did Portal, Fire, and then they tried to run back up mid while Harley was spawning right then.
Yep.
Just way too passive.
It was Mr. Turtle's ultimate, not only locking out Shaliber, but I think another important part was the fact that at the end there, at the very, very end, Mollusk opted to ult Mr. Turtle away. And I'm thinking the mentality there was to keep Mr. Turtle from tanking the Titan, but there was just so much raw damage coming out from Elexum and Atonement, it just did not matter. They were able to take out that Fire Giant before Shaliber could spawn.
Well,
or Titan, excuse me. I got so used to seeing SoaR take the Fire Giant like 20 times that game, I kind of lost track.
Well, either way, right now, the man of the hour, the man of many hours, is Myth. It's the ticket puncher for him. Aggro standing by with Atonement.
Hi, Tom. We've got Atonement. He's had about 30 seconds to catch his breath, and he still can't because that game was that crazy. Atonement, what the hell was that?
I don't even know. I thought we'd lost. I sat there smiling at the crowd, just having a joke because we lost. Kuzenbo was dancing under Titan. We were just joking around. But then, I don't even know. They just went for Fire again and lost the game.
Have you ever felt an energy like that?
No, like every single team was cheering for us. Even if they didn't like us, like even if we were against them, like they were just cheering for us. And yeah, I don't know.
How much did that help boost you guys?
Well, so over the weekend, obviously we struggled with 2 subs. Right. But today we just kind of wanted to come out on a high. We wanted to win. And everyone was, I was kind of joking around saying like, we're going to 2-0 you, we're just messing around. So the fact we actually got a game with 2 subs as well, and it changed the course of the group, like it wasn't just a throwaway game, it actually changed the course of the group, like I'm happy with that.
The defenses were insane. The Fire Giant steal by Turtle to walk in and hog it, I mean, is there any one moment that stands out in your mind, like where you said to yourself, we can actually win this?
Just every time they went for Fire Giant, so like 12 times, it's literally they would kill us, go for Fire Giant, back, come back, kill us, go for Fire Giant. Like, I don't know. We shouldn't have won that, but it was funny. It was funny.
How, what is the monetary value that Myth owe you? Is it like every meal for the rest of the week? Like, what is it?
I'm going to Firebirds tonight. I'm going to have a steak. I'm going to eat well.
Well, Atonement from CAZ, congratulations on a great game. You got any shout-outs before we let you go?
Shout out CAZ for obviously being great sponsors. They've hooked us up big time. Just shout outs to the team. Shout outs to the 2 people that couldn't come even though they didn't get passports. And yeah, just... I can't believe I'm still out of breath. I can't even talk.
Atonement, the hunter in one of the craziest games in recent memory, and it's one that ended up sending Myth Gaming to LAN and shutting down what SoaR want to do again. Congratulations, Atonement. We'll send it back to the desk for Tom to wrap it up.
Hey, thanks so much, Ryan. And as you were standing next to Atonement, fantastic. Man, I really am having trouble composing myself after that. I don't know if I was on screen during everything when I was in the pit, but I was just going nuts. Fantastic stuff coming out from CAZ. And as I said before with my friends on the desk, they're not even going to Worlds. They just helped Myth get there. And just so excited to go for it. So excited to do that for them and their friends. And, well, it's been an adventure. It's been a long weekend, so you know exactly where I'm going with this. Smite Adventures are available on your home computer. You can go and play PvE. I know Tier's sword might not be the right color, but you might be the right player to go ahead and bring victory to you and your friends in this PvE mode. It's a lot of fun. It's actually like a full game, so it's definitely something you want to jump in and try and figure out because the possibilities are endless, so certainly something you want to kind of give a go to. It's been a long weekend, of course, but something I do want to thank is the people that have helped support us, and one of those people are Sennheiser. Sennheiser has provided headsets for our players and even our commentators here, and they can provide headsets for you as well. Remember to use promo code hi-rez, and you get 10% off the Sennheiser headset itself, and also a little hanger, so you don't actually break it. One time I stepped on my headset, and it wouldn't have been stepped on if I had some place to hang it, so maybe I should take advantage of this as well. So really enjoyable moment so far. And of course, we also have one more for you. Superhero Chest can be purchased for 25% off if you dare. That includes the Nike skin and a couple of others as well. I think the ROM might be my favorite. Yep, definitely. I think it's the ROM. That's going to be my favorite. He kind of looks like a guy that's fighting crime, as superheroes like to do. So those are my 3 promos that I have for you guys today. And if I'll offer a 4th, we've also been provided some assistance by the players themselves. Fantastic energy, fantastic attitudes, and fantastic play has brought us through this weekend. And right now, we have a fantastic team standing by. Strictly Business make their way into Worlds, and right next to them is Ryan Agro Bailey.
Thank you very much, Tom. Indeed, I am joined by the other #1 seed coming out of their group, Strictly Business. Matt Coys, you look pretty comfy with that trophy next to you. How's it feel?
It's really heavy, honestly, but, you know, I like it, so.
Okay, there's that. Strictly Business. I mean, first of all, I mean, it has nothing to do with you guys, but that last game was crazy. What was it like just being a part of that crowd?
I mean, I've never heard that, like, I don't even, that was so loud, that was so crazy, I'm, like, still hyped about it, and I wasn't even playing, like, I don't know, I've never seen a Smite game like that ever in my life.
It was something else, and it sends Myth Gaming to Worlds. It was a crazy game, and I mean, you guys were rooting on CAZ, right? Like, I feel like everyone kind of was. Nothing against the SoaR guys, but that was just a crazy game. What do you think? You know, you guys had a couple guys. Matt Coys, will you pay attention for a second, please? Stop messing around. Thank you. You guys had some guys who aren't quite as comfortable here at LAN. Ghost, I'm going to ask this one to you. What is it like to have a guy like Coys who has been around and kind of can teach you the ropes about LAN?
He just brings so much comfort to me. It makes it so that I can, like, play my game completely. It makes it good. A good feeling to have a veteran like him.
Matt Coys, the veteran on this squad, and the coach, Wheezy. You tweeted about how important he is, Coys. Wheezy, how important is it for you guys and to just get a win like this and get that first seed?
I mean, basically, after the set versus Enix, we didn't really get the picks we wanted. So going to the next set, we went back to the hotel room for like 3 hours and just brainstormed. I literally wrote out like 15 to 25 comps. We knew exactly what Obey was going to play, so we just stomped him.
Well, Strictly Business, they get the first seed, and someone's got to get MVP. And this isn't just for first seed or anything like that. It's for the entire tournament, and it's going to be Baronic, the mid laner. Cooper, our head of esports, here to present it. Baronic, it's been a long journey for you. I remember playing against you when you were on, some CC team, and you had a lot to learn then, but you've certainly learned it now. A lot of people calling you the best mid laner on Xbox right now. How does it feel to get that type of praise?
I still won't consider myself the best until I win the World Championship, so,
This MVP has got to feel a little bit rewarding, though. I mean, what did it take for you to get this award?
A lot of hard practice, man. Like, the past 2 years, I've been trying to be the best, and this team is just crazy. Like, you can't be a good mid without a good team behind you, so.
I mean, you definitely have a solid team, one of the top seeds in North America. Baranik, you get a chance to return to the world stage. Got any predictions for me on how it's going to go?
I think it's going to be us and Astro in the finals, and it's going to go to a Game 5.
All right, you heard it here first. Make it your season ticket predictions early on. Guys, congratulations. Any shout-outs before we let you go?
Shout out to my team, my parents, and yeah, that's about it.
That's Baranik, the MVP of the SCL Fall Finals lane, and the rest of Strictly Business, your top seed coming out of their group. Let's throw it back to the desk for FDOT.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Congratulations to Strictly Business. Tom Banniger here at the Fuzzy Desk to wrap things up here for the Smite Console League Fall Finals. Fantastic, fantastic weekend. 3 days of fantastic gaming, and we certainly went through the gauntlet. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 4 matches each day, of course. 2 games in each one, and we saw a whole bunch of, well, exciting stuff. RvL Atonement came through, but actually wound up splitting with SoaR on day number 1. CAZ surprised us here the final day with their split as well. We got to see the Pentakid himself, European hopeful, come through and get a pentakill and just take his team to the spot that they've always dreamed of in the spotlight. We had 2 groups here this weekend. Group A was, well, the first one, obviously, if we're going alphabetically. Strictly Business, Elevate, Obey Alliance, and Enix a part of that one. Despite Enix really winning over some of the hearts of our fans at home, unfortunately, they could not actually win the trophy. Instead, Strictly Business winds up on top with 1 win and 2 splits. And they earned themselves 5 points, Elevate with 4, tied with Obey Alliance, and then Enix down there with 2. Moving over to group number B, or group letter B, excuse me. Another fantastic outfit. 4 separate teams combating for the top as well. And there we see RvL Atonement on top with 7 points. Clearly the most dominant team all weekend. Myth take that second world spot with 4 points in total. SoaR and CAZ rounding out the bottom. But like I said, if we're talking about hearts and not trophies, the Europeans come on top for the first time ever in the Smite Console League. America has been the big brother to Europe for pretty much the entirety of this league. And this weekend, we saw the new rookie team from Europe come through and get a pentakill for themselves. And then just now, CAZ, with their win, earning Myth, a separate team, their right to Worlds. But damn, one of the most exciting moments I think I've ever seen. Not just in console Smite, but in Smite overall. The crowd was feeling it, the players are feeling it, and I certainly was as well. I hope you were feeling it at home, because I'm certainly feeling it here. And right now, I feel like it's time to go. Thanks again to everybody tuning in and watching us this weekend. Thanks to my co-commentators, Agro, Finch, Taco, and Atoli, and all of the players that joined me on the desk. I want to give a special shout out to Coop, because he asked, and everybody else behind the scenes that helped put on this show. We thank you, but most importantly, the viewer. We thank you as well. Unfortunately, this will be the last time that we see you until HRX. I hope to see you in person right here in Atlanta, Georgia at the Cobb Galleria, January 4th, where we kick things off. If not, we'll catch you online. And as always, we love you, we thank you, and we'll see you next time.